Welcome back, Mike and Gen Xing around the
Around the
world.
world. I was saying through
I think we officially changed it because I screwed it up every time.
you. Yeah, yeah. It was originally through the world, but now it's around the world.
It is,
Yeah.
and that's
I
what we're
wonder if you
sticking
can
with.
make it in 180 days. Don't you remember?
That'd be
But
a lot of swimming.
that was with an air balloon. Never mind.
Do you remember the air balloon that kid that he was up in the balloon? I can't remember his name, and it was all a big hoax because he was hiding up in the attic.
Oh, that Elian
Alien, was that
Gonzalez.
him? No, that was. I thought that was
Mm,
the one that came over from Cuba. Either way, there was a kid that was. They said he was in an air balloon, and the whole
I
country
have
was
no
watching
idea.
it. And then they found him in his attic, and the parents made it all up.
Are you making this up?
100% not.
When
That is
was
a.
this?
It was a while ago. The family was from Colorado. You can look that one up. That's a fact. 100%.
Learn something new every day.
Absolutely.
So, in the beginning of our little introduction there, you hear the little music. Well, it's something that came in our little sound mixer.
Yeah,
But
but
hopefully by the end of the week, we are
hoping so.
having some theme music made for us.
We
So,
are. Yeah, I'm super excited.
exciting.
So we kind of gave him a little idea of what we want. We're not going to spoil that now because I'm hoping he can kind of hit what we're thinking, and we'll kind of see what it is. And
Hmm.
then he's got a band, and who
Hey,
knows
yeah,
if they make it big,
yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome.
so I think today we want to talk a little bit about some movies. We do like
Ooh,
movies.
we do. But there haven't really been any great ones
There have
lately.
not.
So are we going to talk like back in our day movies
Absolutely.
and maybe open it up to a whole new realm of people who can watch
So
this
I can
stuff?
start this off, and I could just tell you straight up the greatest trilogy of all time. Oh, nobody's going to disagree with this one. I got to believe that everybody else is on the Back to the Future train.
As the greatest trilogy of all time.
You know what? That's my opinion. I'm going
So,
with it.
so Godfather's not up there.
You know what? Sadly, and I haven't seen it. I've never seen The Godfather. I'm going
Mhm.
to upset a lot of people with the movies that I haven't seen, more so than what I have seen and what I feel is good.
He's never seen the
I have
Goonies.
not seen the Goonies. Now
What is wrong with a Gen X 80s kid that has not seen the Goonies? Then I even tried
that
to
is true.
get this man to watch it because that is a movie I will watch over and over again. My
I
kids
did
love the
offer to
Goonies.
watch that. I don't think we could have found it. We could not find
Yes,
it.
we have it.
Do we have it? I don't
Yeah.
know why we haven't watched it. I
Because
understand the premise of it. I have offered to watch that, but there's much bigger movies that I haven't seen.
such as what?
Oh God, I can't even think. I mean, you name a pretty popular one. I have not seen like a Schindler's List. Nope.
You know that's not that's
Titanic.
pretty heavy.
Titanic.
Titanic's a great movie. Yes, you've not seen
No,
Titanic.
I have not.
No. As a matter of fact, he hadn't seen Dirty Dancing. We actually,
Yep, I
I
did just
wanted
watch
to
that one.
start introducing my daughter to movies that I loved
Yeah,
growing up because again, we've had a really hard time
yeah,
finding good movies, like relatable coming of age movies, and it
right.
was already a timed piece anyways. So I figured, well, let's try it, and she loved it. We watched Footloose.
Footloose. I still haven't seen the ending though.
Right, I forgot how cringy it could be in parts. You know, there's the one scene where Kevin Bacon is dancing by himself
Okay,
in the
that was
barn.
awkward for 5.5 minutes.
It really
It,
was. Now the song
oh,
is fantastic. I mean, it's but
it just didn't
oh,
end. The dancing just didn't
and
end.
soundtracks like there's soundtracks were so amazing. I think the majority of my music library was
Yeah,
soundtracks,
Kenny
and I'm a
Loggins.
music buff.
Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins, the king
Yeah,
of the '80s music.
hands down.
So yeah,
I mean, you talk. I mean, we just start
'80s movie music.
Caddyshack, Top Gun. I mean, there's
Over
so
the
many
top a little.
over the top. Now
Over
that's a
the
movie I've
Top
seen.
is a
Hmm.
little. I don't know how many people know that it's Sylvester Stallone, and
Hmm.
he's an arm
Yep,
wrestling dude, and he's
trying to get
fighting.
his kid back.
Yeah, it's actually a really great movie, but Over the Top.
I didn't know he did that soundtrack though.
Yeah,
That's good.
I don't know if he did the whole soundtrack, but he did do the major
Yeah,
songs.
that's true.
So, and do movies nowadays really even have that like good get you song?
You know what? They have an
But
award every year, the movie awards, and they do Song of the Year for the movies
but
and
there
everything.
really aren't very good
But I don't know
get
the
you
song.
songs anymore.
No.
Everything is a collaboration.
Yeah.
Everything is all. Ugh. Music isn't what it used to be
No,
either.
I don't
And
think so.
I kind of feel like a fuddy duddy saying it, but I mean it. I mean everything is just a sound bite and a cut and a sample. Movies are that too. It's like original ideas. Ain't nobody having them. And the best that's out there right now is country.
I agree with that.
It really is.
Hmm.
It's great music. I
Morgan
mean,
Wallen.
anybody can listen to it. It,
Hmm.
it goes young, old, everybody
Yeah,
can like it. It tells a story. I mean, it's usually talking about love or
yeah,
it's
I
not
agree.
the old
But
It's
we're now.
it's definitely not the old George Jones and Tammy Wynette stuff. I mean, it's definitely come a long way since then, but it tells a story, and I love music that tells a story.
I don't know who George Jones is. I know who George Strait is.
George Strait is amazing. George Strait
Yeah.
is like the honorary Texas president, I think. I mean, that
I
man,
believe that,
he
but
has a voice like velvet,
he does.
and oh goodness gracious,
But
he has. Oh, he had a movie back in the day, and oh, I loved
he
that
was in a
movie. It was a
movie.
love.
I didn't
Yeah,
even know he was in a movie.
yeah. Cross my heart and promise
I
to
feel like all of his songs kind of
give
sound the
all
same
I.
though. I mean, I'm not saying they're
That's
bad.
wrong.
I
You're
again,
welcome. I can do it again. No, they don't.
the ones that I've heard.
Okay, he's a fan of the Cranberries. Let it linger. No, thanks. Don't listen to his music
You
taste.
know, I would. We both can agree on hairbands though.
Yes,
We can agree on
hair
hairbands.
bands. Yes, but let's get back to movies.
Movies. Let's
Let's
go.
get back to movies.
So,
Movies we grew up with.
movies we grew up with and ones we watch all the time. Well, I got certain ones that whenever they're on TV that I have to watch. To me, one of them is A Few Good Men.
But that's not an. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a great movie.
I mean, that's a great movie.
But I'm thinking more like Adventures in Babysitting.
That was good.
You know, like these coming of age movies, and things that were
Okay.
age appropriate for us at
So
the
you're
time.
talking Brat Pack, not Brat Pack.
That
but,
wasn't Brat Pack. That was Elizabeth Shue.
but she was kind of an honorary member, though.
No,
Just
she
think
was
about it.
not. She was not
That's
in
not the
any
same
of their
time frame.
movies. She was in Karate Kid.
What she was in? What was the one? Can't Buy Me Love.
No, she wasn't.
That wasn't her.
No.
Who was that?
See, he sucks at this. Oh, Amanda somebody, I think.
It
Maybe
could've
her. I don't know, but it was not her. Patrick Dempsey was in that.
That was McDreamy.
Yeah.
His first
Is
feature
he
film.
McDreamy or McSteamy?
I have no idea.
He definitely looks way better grown up
Yeah.
than he did then. He was adorkable then, but
He was. Another one I wasn't a huge fan of back in the day was Molly Ringwald, like her movies. And now
Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink. I
okay,
loved
Breakfast
Molly
Club was
Ringwald.
good. Breakfast Club was fantastic, one of the best movies. But it was because
Howard the Duck.
That was a good one.
You remember how?
I do.
Howard the Duck.
I do remember that. Now, who was the lead actress in that one?
Leah Thompson.
That was
Her
Leah Thompson.
daughter,
Okay.
Zoe Deutsch, I believe, she's acting.
Really?
Yeah.
Leah Thompson from Back to the Future. Huh. Funny how we go back to that.
Elizabeth Shue is also in Back to the Future.
Both
she
of them.
was the girl in the second one.
You're just adding, Back to the Future, just climbing up that trilogy mark. Look at the careers it started. I'm telling you, Michael J. Fox. Christopher Lloyd, still going.
His career didn't start that
Now,
big.
I'm very curious
He's
because
really
we did see a Back to the Future 4
We love him
trailer, but I don't know if
I don't
it's
think
fake.
it was real.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there was a trailer out there about Back
Got
to
me
the
excited.
Future 4, but I don't think it was real. I think it was maybe like something they do for like a Super Bowl or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know.
And then we tried to look it up to see,
can't
and
find anything.
you can't find anything.
It's crazy. So if you
Mhm.
know if there is a Back to the Future 4 coming out, please let me know because
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, I'd be
Yeah,
all
but
about
some
that.
some great movies to watch. So like I'm a reader. I'm an avid
Mhm.
reader. I used to get grounded all the time. So but they didn't take away my books and my music.
Nope.
So I stumbled upon at the Jewel Osco because we could just go and do whatever we wanted.
Jewel Osco.
Yeah, their books, and I bought Flowers in the Attic. That was disturbing.
Is that a movie too?
Yes.
Is this one?
So the premise of this Flowers in the Attic is, for those of you that don't know, was this couple, this lady, her husband passed,
Okay.
and they had nothing. And she took her 4 children, a boy, a girl, and then a set of twins, which was also a boy and a girl, but they were much younger. She took them back home to her very wealthy parents. And however, and her father was dying. However, they had to put these kids up in the attic because for whatever reason, the father couldn't, the dying grandfather couldn't know they existed yet. She had to earn her way back into his heart, to make it right. Well, it turns out the reason why the father didn't like his daughter was she ran away with his brother, and
That's rough.
the brother and the mother created the 4 children. So now, in the course of that movie, spoiler alert, when she has them up in the attic, the mean grandmother would bring them cookies, and they had powdered sugar on top of them.
I get the feeling that wasn't powdered sugar.
I have not touched powdered sugar since that point, and the powdered sugar was arsenic.
Oh, God.
And they figured it out because their little mouse that became their little pet died from eating the cookies. And then, yeah,
That's
so
that's not a feel good movie.
yeah, well,
I don't
there's a
feel good
whole
about that one.
series, and I was hooked, and I read them all, and then there was spin-off series. Oh, it's a rabbit hole. However,
I don't think we can talk about movies from that area unless we talk about the back not the Back to the Future, but Friday the 13th.
scary movies,
Scary movies.
scary movies, scary
Back when
movies.
scary movies were scary movies.
Yeah, they were. Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably one of the scariest horror movies I have ever seen in my entire life. I swore to God that man was in my room at night. We lived in Illinois, so I'm like, oh, he could be around.
What's amazing is how he used to catch up to everybody and never run.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Jason never ran, but he made that sound, and he always caught him.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Do you know who the killer was in the first Friday the 13th?
In the first one, that's a trick question.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't Jason.
Not Jason. But we won't.
His mama.
Oh, you were going to spoil it for him. Now the weird
Baby.
One, I know. Some people don't know.
Some of the watch the movies.
Watch the movies. It's great.
They're
movies.
Fantastic. And then Freddy.
Now Freddy was messed up because he would get in your dreams.
Freddy scared the hell out of me, but I was like addicted. That was back in the day. You would have sleepovers. I don't even know if kids do that anymore. Sleepovers and watch movies and rent these scary movies. I know girls. No, we did not do the whole slumber party like you think. Now, I'm sure maybe some did, but that's not the norm. At least in my life, it wasn't. But yeah, scary movies, like that's what we did, and that got my love of scary movies. But now I think they kind of go a little bit too far, where they're almost.
Well, it's more of a gore thing.
Yeah.
Instead of a scary
instead of scary, they got it because even as they started getting up in the numbers, the Freddys and the Jason. I mean, then it got.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, the first few of each of those series are fantastic, and I really actually have to say, because I love Michael Myers so much, I have made this guy, and he does not do movie theaters, take me to the new ones that they brought out, and I'm gonna say I have been disappointed.
Yeah, both times you have.
Yeah, they were really shitty. I didn't like them. I'm sorry if you disagree, but that's my opinion. Yeah, they just were not like. I felt like they could have done so much more, and the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis was attached to it, I'm like, oh yes.
Yeah.
They sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Mm-mm. Now I do believe the Scream franchise has done a pretty good job.
Yeah, but that was more 90s. But yes, I really do. And I kind of like Top Gun. Now, Top Gun, hands down, by far, is one of my absolute favorite movies. My grandpa, you'll hear about him as I think time goes on, but I grew up without a father. And my grandfather was my dad, and for lack of a better term. And I was his movie buddy. So we went and go see movies together. And I think sometimes that's how he got to rationalize seeing some of the movies that he saw, like Karate Kid. And funny story, Karate Kid brought back his love of Taekwondo, and he ended up getting a black belt and going through there. I think he ended up being a 7th degree black belt in Taekwondo. He was an instructor. I mean, he was a badass, and he started this all in his 50s. His 50s, like he is the guy. Actually, my what was the inspiration? My inspiration for getting the balls to do this.
Absolutely.
He taught me that you are never too damn old to do anything. And if you don't like it, start over.
Yeah.
Try something else.
Why not?
He did it with just different religions, thought processes. He did yoga. He did Taekwondo. He did, he tried so many different things. Yeah. And that's a badass to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's okay to fail. It really is okay to fail as long as you pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and go again. I think that's a lot of our mentality and the mentality that we grew up with and what was instilled in us. And, what doesn't kill you is going to make you stronger. And, but in today's society, that's not how it is. Nope. These kids are like, oh, my feelings. I honestly, I'm sorry, okay. But that's how I feel. It's like your feelings, I'm sorry, but gosh dang it. Move along. Put them away like everybody else does. And
don't you got a funny story about your aunt at, I believe it was Star Wars or Empire that Strikes Back or one of them?
No, that was Jaws. Okay, I'm
Jaws.
A huge Jaws
Jaws is a
fan.
good one. We had to talk about Jaws.
Jaws
You're
fan.
A fan of that one.
Huge. Now, I will tell you that it scared the hell out of me taking a bath when I was a little girl. I stopped bubble baths because I was convinced Jaws was going to come up through the drain.
You don't know what's under the water, apparently.
Yes. I did. I quit that. But yeah, no, we saw the one, I think it was Jaws 3 when they were in the water park. Yes, it's Jaws 3 when they were in the water park and it was 3D. And my grandfather, yes, had taken us to go see it. And my aunt, I'm not going to name her name. My mom had 3 sisters. My mom was the oldest of 4. And now to give you an idea, my mom was 16 and her youngest sister was 8 years younger than her. And I was 8 years younger than her youngest sister. So I was kind of like a younger sister. So I kind of got stuck doing everything with them. So
Yep.
my grandfather took us to go see Jaws 3 and it was 3D. And there was a point in the movie, and if you watch it on TV to this day, you can still tell that it was filmed in 3D, that Jaws bit something and an arm came out.
That's fantastic.
And she pissed the seat. She pissed the seat. It was not the little one. It was her, and she pissed the seat. I laughed so hard.
I'm laughing at it now.
Yeah.
That happened almost 30 years ago.
Oh, my grandpa was so pissed. He didn't want to let her in the car. No pun intended, but yeah.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
What about Indiana Jones?
Love. I have not watched any of the new ones, unfortunately.
Is there more than one new one?
I have not. Well, there's the new one, and I have not watched it.
No.
Unfortunately.
And I like Harrison Ford. We just haven't. We
just
had no desire.
I heard it was pretty woke.
Ugh.
And I can't. I'm sorry. We're not going to try to get really political, but I can't do that. I cannot. I can't. When I can't. I'm a kind of a purist. I can't do that. What about Rambos?
So I was. So Rambo and
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, and they were good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I kind of feel like they kind of got lumped in with every Schwarzenegger movie, and it just kind of was like.
Were you not a fan of those?
It was just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
In my opinion, oh, I'm tough. Somebody gets kidnapped. I'm gonna go kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, but that's kind of indicative of what 80s was.
No, that's true.
I mean, seriously, it was big, bang, boom. I mean,
it was.
It was, I will pump you up. And
I mean, like, I've never even seen any of the Terminators.
Men were masculine.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's my problem.
We're kind of losing. You're masculine.
I just meant in terms of my movie watching. I will say this. I did lean more towards comedies. So, like Major Leagues.
Those are
love Major
Those
League.
are good.
Huevos, yes. So I think that's what you can see that in the movies that I have seen. More of a comedy background.
Yeah, I am Mannequin. We both agree on Mannequin.
Mannequin was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, he still is in love with that song. Nothing's gonna stop us now.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So is that Starship?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Starship had changed so many times. If you listen to Starship back in the 70s as opposed to Starship in the 80s,
well,
you were
wasn't
like,
their name in the 70s.
They were Jefferson Starship. They were like Jefferson Airplane, and I think then they went to Jefferson Starship.
Just complete sidebar. Why did they keep changing the name?
I don't know if it was the ever-changing band members.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I really don't. I don't know the history on that one, but I do know that they were doing it.
I remember they built that city.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that song.
Yeah, but they also did Sarah. I love.
Oh, they did? Oh, I like that song too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Any other movies that are popping out at you that just one of those 80s iconic movies that you just like?
Oh, there's so many. I mean,
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough
I mean, we could probably just do a whole episode just on 80s movies.
Now, there was one when I was growing up. My family my mom was into Bond movies. Now, we're talking older Bond movies, of course.
James Bond
movies.
James Bond. Shaken, not stirred. I didn't like James Bond.
You did not?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
Huh.
I really don't know.
I mean, Sean Connery's in there.
Yeah.
Sean Connery's one of the greatest actors of all time. That's my belief.
Besides James Bond, what do you think that he did that was so amazing?
Oh, let's see. He was in Indiana Jones.
Yes,
and he was his dad, and he was really good in that role.
Correct.
If you give me a couple minutes, I could probably think of a few more. But yes,
it sucks when you're on the spot, really. Like we even have like talking points, and sometimes it's like.
We have talking points, but we try to not write down specific things.
No, because then I'd be like.
Yeah, then we get a little flustered. But I guarantee in about 3 minutes, I'm going to rip off like 3 Sean Connery movies.
Mm-hmm. It never fails. It's like somebody asks you. I think that's like our ADHD too, which we'll get into that in an episode. Yeah. But it's like you put on the spot and it's like you have brain freeze. It's.
Now, is there a certain actor or anything that they would come out with a movie and it would just basically, you'd be like, not a chance. I despise this gentleman and can't understand why he's famous?
Probably. But I can think of who I wanted to see, Tom Cruise. Like,
Yeah,
I was
he was good.
I
He
was
was
in
really
love with him with Top Gun. I'm not going to lie to you. I had that movie
good. What about Risky
memorized.
Business?
Yes.
That's such a good movie.
And there's no reason on God's green earth we should have been watching Risky Business. And
No, I think I actually figured out what that movie was about in my late 20s.
yeah, she was a prostitute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and ended up stealing everything from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Another good movie.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh my God, so good,
Bueller.
so good. Matthew Broderick just, oh my God, he was just in a show we watched.
And that's another one that transcends. Like,
he really does.
Yeah, our kids can watch that, and it's still relevant. It's still
really
funny.
is.
It's because it's a lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's a timepiece. Which took that place. That was a little bit older than us. We weren't that age, when it came out.
No,
we were
clearly.
definitely more like junior high-ish,
Right.
I think, when that came out. Maybe a little younger, but they were cool.
They were cool.
They really were cool, and just movies were different, and they had original thought, and you're not finding that anymore.
They really aren't.
No, you're not. John Hughes movies were really big, the Brat Pack, and it wasn't, well, the Brat Pack was in it, but it was like Breakfast Club, 16 Candles.
I never saw St. Elmo's Fire. I never saw Pretty in
That
Pink.
was a little bit darker.
Was it?
Yeah, they were in college, but there was a little bit of a, darker overtone to it. But there was a lot of great actors.
Let's not forget about two classic Patrick Swayze movies. We got Roadhouse.
They're remaking that, and that's pissing me off.
That's a movie you do not remake.
I am sorry, but Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor may be awesome, but they certainly are no fucking Patrick Swayze or Sam Elliott. Back the fuck off our movies, man.
Wow.
Back off.
I am a big Sam Elliott fan too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
It
makes me mad.
I could see them doing it as a sequel, but to redo it,
kind of like they did with Maverick. I loved how they did Maverick.
They
reincorporated and gave it new life. If you haven't seen it, see it.
Maverick, hands down.
I was apprehensive, but we took our
down.
kids. We made our kids watch Top Gun.
Fantastic.
In surround sound at home, and then we took them to the movie theaters and watched it, and
it was so good.
I was really happy about it, and they left it. So if they wanted to make another one, it opens it up to a whole nother generation. And
I did hear that he is pursuing a Top Gun 3. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, give him credit because his body goes through a whole lot of pain during those things because he actually goes up in those fighter jets.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. But did they remake Red Dawn?
I'm not sure.
I think they redid it.
I'm not sure. Now, The Outsiders, that's another one. Did you ever watch The Outsiders?
She's going to hit me. No, I have not. I couldn't even tell you who was in it.
All right. Did you ever watch, now I'm taking it way back, To Kill a Mockingbird?
Well, of course I did because we had to watch it in class.
Yeah.
So, but what I will tell you is I actually watched it before we watched it in class.
I loved the book. I'm a reader, and I loved the book, and I loved the movie. That's a classic. So if you've not seen it, To Kill a Mockingbird, it's fantastic.
A study hint for all of you: if you have to read it, the Cliff Notes and movie will get you at least a B on the test.
No Cliff Notes.
No, it will.
Do better.
Why? It's a great story. I'm sure it's well written. I have no doubt. Just wasn't for me. Hey, I read my first book when I was 19?
And what was
20?
it?
I did read The Rock's autobiography. Then I read Stone Cold. Then I read Phil Jackson. I think you could see a theme.
Can you see a theme?
Well, you know this. I have a hard time visualizing. That's why back in the day, I actually did like movies, but they had to make me laugh.
But I'm a firm believer, like, if you don't like books, you're reading the wrong ones.
And
our daughter had a really hard time reading, and then she found the right book, and now her reading is insane. Yeah. She has just taken it like I have, and it's like we can go through a book a day, and it's crazy. I love it.
I don't know if it's the way my brain works. I can't stay focused on it enough to stay engaged in the story.
Because you haven't found the right book. That's what I believe. That's my belief.
The unfortunate part is you're probably right, but it's been such a bad experience for me that it's just really hard for me to take that plunge to try and find it. And that sucks because I would enjoy reading, I believe. It just hasn't worked for me.
So do you have a top 5 movies that you can think of
A
from back in
top.
the day?
Now, I can give you 5. I'm not going to put them in order.
Because we haven't even really talked about 90s movies like the New Jack
So,
City and the
oh
Boomerang
my
and the Eddie
God.
Murphys
Did you just
and
bring up New Jack City? Ice T was fantastic. Wesley Snipes was in. I was a
Wesley
big Wesley
Snipes.
Snipes fan.
But I liked him in
So
Blade.
I never saw
I
Blade.
love vampires.
Now I do have an issue. I mean, they made him dress up again. They made him. I mean, Wesley Snipes was in a movie, or was a woman in a movie, and it seemed to be a common theme. Like Arsenio Hall was a woman in Boomerang, or not Boomerang, but Coming to America.
Okay, Coming to America. That's another one we liked the sequel.
Oh my goodness! If you have not seen that
Sexual
sequel,
chocolate. Oh.
just watch it all the way to the end.
And
That's
we
all I'm
had
gonna
an
say.
experience over at Legion Ball,
God, that was funny.
where we played a team this summer for softball. Legion Ball. Our daughter plays softball, and we went to an opposing team, and they did the
Oh my God,
the
they did
national anthem, and it was long, and it was
very similar to Sexual Chocolates from.
it
It was
grooved. I
so
mean, it
good.
wasn't like your normal. It was very rhythmy.
It was unexpected.
R&B
and we were
style,
entertained.
and it was fantastic. I mean, I was into it. It was probably about 7.5 minutes long, but
It was
all I
long.
kept thinking about was
It was good. I mean, it was good. It's just
and
when
we're
you're
just grooved.
when you're expecting 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is roughly about
Oh, sick.
it was drawn out. It was
I
fun.
wanted to dance. It
Yeah.
was great. It was a little party happening. But yes, Eddie Murphy,
Oh my God, he's so funny.
oh my Lord, that man.
Now, except for there was a movie he came out with, like I think it was Norbit or something like that,
From what I understand, that's a cult classic.
and that might be, but I'm
And then
not in that
when
cult.
he did, then I think it was the Nutty Professor,
He did do
and then he
Nutty
went to the
Professor.
clumps. But when
Mhm.
there's a scene in there where they got a little chubby boy, and that little chubby boy is doing something, and the mama's going Hercules, Hercules. I still do that to my kids.
That's a good one. But
That man, he is comedy gold.
he really is. He
He
really
really
is.
is. I love Eddie Murphy.
When we stopped watching Saturday Night Live because it just stopped being funny, but when he went back and hosted,
Years and
I
years
made a
ago.
point to record it and watched every skit, and it was hysterical.
See,
That
and
man
that's
still has
another
it.
thing. Saturday Night Live, we actually come from the generation where it was good.
It was
was
good.
really good. I mean,
When you had Spade, Sandler, Kevin Nealon, that whole Farley, Phil Hartman, that was an incredible cast.
yeah,
Absolutely incredible. And I couldn't even tell you who's on it now.
yeah.
Um,
And again, everything gets so political and
Yeah,
woke.
but-
and
but I
you're
mean,
like,
but Saturday Night Live, actually, though, their writers, they've always been, they would always jab the political stuff, but, it was too much. Like, the whole show ended up being about that, and it was just, what's that?
I said I live on that.
Oh, Diet Pepper, yeah. Absolutely. A truck flipped over today.
In Colorado, I felt so bad
Yeah.
for my Diet Dr.
Diet
my
Pepper.
lovers.
So you asked me a question about my top 5 movies.
Yes.
My top 5 movies. Now, in no particular order, and I base this based on the ones that are on TV, and I cannot switch them off. It's like I'm compelled to keep them on the TV.
Okay.
All right. In that list is Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Fantastic movie, and it's one of the long ones, and I don't like long movies. You know
Mhm.
this about me. I don't like them. But that is just one I love. I don't know. Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump gets
Love
in that list.
Forrest Gump.
Between the soundtrack and the story and the integration of the historical events, and
Peas and carrots.
it is unbelievable. Little side
Look
fact
at,
about
you married Jen Nye.
I did marry Jen Nay. Funny story though.
You Forrest?
The accent that Tom Hanks does is actually based on the kid that plays him as a kid.
A child.
Yeah. So he would sit down to talk to him and learn how he spoke, and that's how he got that accent. Thought that was a pretty cool story. All right, let's see what else is on Major League. Major League is on there. It's one of those that's just
The original?
classic. The original. Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes is a leadoff hitter. It is just so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of big names in that movie.
Dorn, Corbin Burnson.
Dorn, yeah.
The Allstate guy. I don't know his name, but you know the guy I'm talking about.
Is he Allstate or Prudential?
Oh, ooh.
The
You're good at
Detroit dude.
Allstate. Allstate. You're right. It's the Allstate guy.
You said Allstate.
Did I say Allstate? Or did I say State? No, it is the Allstate guy.
Ah.
He is. Yes. That's one of those classic movies. Let's see. 2 more that just have to be on, and just Dazed and Confused. Dazed and Confused gets in there for me because that one is just it's a cult following for me, and I think you're gonna know the last one. You have to know the last one. I think we got it right back there. Caddyshack. Bill Murray to me is a god. He's funny. He's hilarious. And then you throw him with Chevy Chase. And what a lot of people don't know is the scene in Bill Murray's little cabin, 100% improvised. 100%.
So I was a little bit of a different.
Oh, yeah. You were way different than what I liked.
Mm-hmm. I liked me some Ghostbusters.
You did that. Now,
the first Ghostbusters. I'm not saying they're my favorites.
The great movies.
Yeah. But I like me some Ghostbusters. I love Jaws. Yeah, I was a weird little kid. I liked adult movies. It was not very often that I liked, but I was always around adults. I was a new child, so it's what I was exposed to. Right. So I liked some serious stuff. I mean, Flowers in the Attic. Like I loved Adventures in Babysitting.
I loved that movie.
It was a really great movie. Mm-hmm. Watch it. It's Elizabeth Shue. It's funny. It's Adventures in Babysitting. It's a funny movie.
It's actually a story that can still be relatable.
Mm-hmm.
If people went out and used babysitters anymore.
Yeah. Hey, let's see. There was a figure skating one. I think it may have been called Cutting Edge. I'm not sure.
You're not talking about the Tanya Harding movie, are you?
No? Why?
Okay, good. You're right.
No. Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan, the club incident. No. I'm not talking about that.
I believe they did make a movie about that, though.
They did. I think that may have been like a Lifetime movie.
Hey, they still made a movie.
We didn't have cable, so I got what we could rent on VCRs over at the good IGA.
Oh God, VCRs.
Yeah, so like back in the day, my parents smoked cigarettes, and so my stepdad would write a letter, and I would go up to the local convenient mart, the IGA, and I would give them the letter, and they would put a carton of cigarettes and maybe a Playboy here and there and staple the bag, and I would go home.
Times have changed.
Now, even when I was in high school, my girlfriend Annette, her parents wrote us a letter to go to the Piggly Wiggly in Grace Lake, and they sold us amaretto.
Okay.
Her dad made us amaretto stone sours.
All right. Mm-hmm. How old were you?
I was in high school, probably 16 years old. Yeah, he told us when we would go anywhere, he would tell us, girls, you better watch out. He goes, watch out for those boys. He goes,
what do you call them?
Especially them Europeans. He goes, they got Russian hands and Roman fingers. Can't say that nowadays because you piss somebody off.
Somebody off, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll never forget that. Russian hands and Roman fingers. Oh my goodness gracious.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, a couple movies, there was a couple classic ones that I really did like, and they were pretty close on my list, is Boys in the Hood.
Okay.
That Cuba Gooding, Ice Cube back in the day. And there was another little lesser known one called Menace to Society. A little more hardcore.
Those were heavy.
Those two were heavy movies, yeah.
Those were pretty heavy.
But those were good. I mean, they were just... It was different for a kid from, a decent suburb to watch that stuff.
Yeah, we were definitely not in the area. I mean, the older I got, when I was younger, we lived in Chicago, but it definitely not in the area as I got older, because we've known each other since we were 11, and I moved away from that area when I was about 15. But I moved a couple towns away, but back then it's like, you might as well move to another world. There was no cell phones. There was no internet. There wasn't anything like that. So it was like smoke signals or nothing.
Yeah. But movies definitely have changed.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that I don't feel like there's really a lot of originality any longer. I think they're either continuing along with an idea or rebooting the Billy the Kid, I'll Make You Famous.
Young Guns.
Those. Fantastic.
Great movies.
There's actually a scene in there about regulators. And yes, but I didn't even know this. They took snippet from that scene, and in the song Regulators, that's from that movie.
It is.
That's I had no idea. Mm-hmm. No, that's not how they started the movie. That's how they started the song, but that's not how they started the movie.
I mean, that's what I meant. That's how they started the song.
Yeah.
Warren G.
Mm-hmm. Mount up.
Yeah, it's got a lot of bass.
It does. You mean me? I'm all about that.
Oh, good Lord. What? Isn't that crazy? That's where music has become. It's all about that bass. We got anything else to add on movies tonight?
I think we're good on movies tonight. Next time we got to talk about TV that we grew up with.
We do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good programs. So
yeah. Even commercials were different. Where's the beef?
Yeah.
Trapper Keepers. We got all sorts of stuff to talk about. But what we're trying to do is kind of give our point of view, talk about some reminiscing, but
Yeah.
associate it to now. And if y'all have any ideas, anything you want us to talk about, let us know.
I mean,
we are always game for.
I'm curious to see what everybody else's top 5 movies are.
Yeah.
Any of ours getting your list? Probably not. But hey, you never know. At least you're going to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everybody have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.